Welcome back to our first Lunch and Learn of April. So we do 2 of these every month, and the whole idea is to be sharing information you should know about your business so that you can really go and leverage your marketing efforts. So here we go. Right, so email marketing. Now, that is something which I know when I bring it up to most business owners what reaction I'm going to get, even before I've opened up the conversation. I often get this, oh, no, I don't do that. Nobody reads it. It doesn't work. But it's actually always worked. And we are seeing a revival happening at the moment in 2026. So because it is reviving, because it works, we want to focus on how we can win people's attention and drive sales with our newsletters. Because at the end of the day, that is what they're really fantastic at doing, is helping us to drive new sales. So how do we get into it? Well, let's have a look at the reality firstly. So for every single dollar spent, businesses are getting a return on investment of $36 to $42. Now, that is brilliant. Obviously, that's not in Rand rate, but just, do the conversion for yourself quickly. Can you imagine doing that? So if you spend, a couple of $100 or do it yourself and you get a return on investment, then it's working. We've got one client in particular who, she sends us a message after every time we send a newsletter out for her, and it's always, oh, I just got a spike in sales, and we love that. And we want that for more people. Why newsletters work so well is you're talking to a group of engaged people to begin with. Your newsletter database should be made out of your suppliers, your contractors, anybody who's ever contacted you for a proposal or a lead or wants to make a sale. They've bought from you, so they've become a client. The people who've engaged with the business. Now, with POPI in South Africa and GDPR in Europe, and we do have a lot of privacy policies, and we need to be aware of these things, especially in this day and age. You have to get somebody's permission to add them to a newsletter. So make sure you're doing that with your onboarding process and talking to people, and also make sure that they always know that they can unsubscribe. So if you're using a nice emailing program, that is always available. You're opening yourself up to problems if that isn't the case. But this is a really lovely and easy way to talk to an engaged audience who's maybe bought from you before, considered buying from you, didn't fully understand what you were doing, and you've now got an opportunity to connect with them. Now, newsletters are far outperforming ads based on that return on investment. So we want to be able to really captivate people as we hit their inbox and help them dial in to what it is that we want to do and want to sell to them, talk to them about, and connect with them over. So by the end of lunch today, you will know and understand why email is experiencing this revival. We're going to dive into that. It's always good to know the why before we get into the action. Some proven strategies to improve your open rates, your clicks, your return on investment on a budget as well, to help you build some simple automation flows and personalization tactics, because that's important these days as well. And also measure what truly matters. We don't just want open rates. We want open rates, but we want more than just that. We want to know how we can drive more revenue for our businesses through effective email marketing, and also creating a practical revival plan for your business. So if you've been doing newsletters and you feel like it's just not quite hitting the mark, this is your space. If you have never done a newsletter because you think it's ever going to work, this is going to be your space. And I'm looking forward to walking this journey with you today. So first and foremost, my name is Tamsin Haley. I am the founder and the business developer at Digital Happiness. We're a full-fledged digital marketing agency. We love building strategies for clients that will help them flesh out an ecosystem, which will bring in their ideal clients and move them up towards a sale. So we love measuring return on investment. We love numbers, as well as all the lovely creative side of marketing as well. So the email marketing revival this year, why is it still working? 4.7 plus billion users globally are using email. People get emails all the time. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got 4, 5 different email addresses, maybe even more. I've got one for each business, a personal one, one where all my social media junk goes into, that one that you register all your social media platforms, you just never open it. And what else have I got? And I've got another one. Oh, I've got one in my married surname still, because I was once upon a time I was married and had a different surname, and I still have some stuff that goes there, so I just haven't closed it off. So that's a lot. That's just one person, never mind somebody else. And businesses use email all the time. It is still our preferred method of communication. Now, I know that WhatsApp is on the rise, but I think that there's possibly always going to be a place for something like email, even if it's not email itself. We have to see what happens in the future. But what we know is that for now, a lot of businesses run off of email. Now, what are we looking at as far as those? So, like I said, $36 to $42 per $1 return on investment. That can be up to as much as $45 in an e-commerce environment. So if you do have an e-commerce store, you need to just have a think about, are you achieving that? And if not, there's probably some shifting that needs to take place. Your average open rate. So we've always said that an industry standard has been 20%. If you're getting 20%, you are smack bang on target. That's what you want. So you can see here it's between 21 and 43%. Anything less than 20%, your subject line needs some work. That is your indicator there. And maybe you need to test and measure, trying different times of the day. I think newsletters, we sometimes have to be very strategic as to when we send them out. And I'll get into that a little bit as well as we talk. Then flows and automations are outperforming blasts dramatically. And this is normal. We see this all the time. So having a good consistency of newsletters is important. And you can build something like an evergreen funnel and have if every person come in and have the same journey all the way through. We've seen beautiful success with that. You can set up other automations like abandoned carts, or ones to get reviews after people have made purchases if you've got an online store, or you can also just be consistent. Now, we've done a bit of everything. I'll be very open with you about that. What we're doing at the moment, and I'm enjoying the flow of, I think we're covering but we've got a lot of content coming out of Digital Happiness that's a bit time sensitive at the moment, like events that we have. Both these lunch and learns and in-person events. So we sort of are just making sure that we've got a newsletter going out every week, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. So try that and see how well it works. I'll explain a bit more. And then your click to open rates have been rising as relevance has improved. So what are we putting into these newsletters? What are we enticing people with? And do they care? Does it qualify their life story that they're constantly telling themselves on a day-to-day basis? Because we need to remember that we're each the hero in our own business, and we have to connect in with the thought process that the person we're trying to sell to is having about their life, right? That's how we attract sales. We've seen plenty of adverts already for AI agents who can go and pre-write all of your responses very quickly and sort your inbox and all of these things. You've got your AI summarization, and also general fatigue. We are exhausted of being sold at all the time. It's a human condition, but it does mean that generic emails will get ignored and deleted. We have an opportunity as small businesses to deliver personal, timely value that feels human. It can be really difficult sometimes for a bigger business or corporate to do this, because you're talking in a personal voice. It can get lost somewhere in the brand journey. So there is something here where you could possibly, have a little sneak through and have some good impact where your bigger competitors can't. Right, so we've got new challenges in 2026. Nothing's ever easy or clean cut, or just all obstacles are removed from our way. We've got inbox competition. So with the AI element, as well as the human and everybody else who's trying to take up space in there. We've got privacy restrictions, like I said, POPI and GDPR. We need to keep in mind. Lots of AI generated noise and mobile first viewing. So whatever you're creating, it has to be visible, and you must be able to engage with it on a mobile screen. So we want to make sure that we are creating content which is relevant rather than too much. Like, it's not about how much content you can create and churn out. I have met people who are so good at just creating and creating and creating and creating, and they don't get anywhere. It has to be relevant. That is the skill set that we need to refine here, being able to assess what is relevant to the person we want to talk to. We also need to have a look at getting first-party data and zero-party data, because that is going to drive personalization going forward. So this is the information that people voluntarily give you. It's what first-party information is. So make sure when you're collecting data about your clients that you're getting as much from them as possible. Then automation and AI should be your co-pilots. They should not be driving the machine. There was something I heard a while ago which said, emotions are like toddlers in a car. It's okay that they're there, but putting them in the boot or in the driving seat are the problem. I feel the same about AI. If we're running away from it and hiding and pretending it doesn't exist or that it's not going to come and change the way that we work, it's like sticking it in the trunk and hoping it's not going to be an issue. Nobody wants a body in the trunk. And we also need to give it the steering wheel, because so many people have, and it's created this content overwhelm that we're experiencing as human beings. But it also means that it's giving us more of a space to let humanizing content really stand out. So that's what we need to be focusing on. And also we need to focus on life cycle journeys and not just one-off campaigns. The best marketing is consistent marketing. And you might not get the sale today, but when the person thinks of this need that they have and you pop into their mind 2 years later, however long it takes to get them to that point, that is the win. And that's where we want to be moving you towards. So we've got some core strategies to win the attention war that I'm going to share with you. The first is your subject line. This is newsletter 101. And if you only get this right, I have won today. Okay, so this is your first, and if this is anything that you can do, perfect. You have to write a subject line that gets attention and doesn't feel too salesy and speaks to the person that you're writing it to, so that they open the email and then engage with you further. So try and see how you can personalize it. Make sure that you are giving a benefit in the headline. That's what it means when it says benefit driven. What is the benefit to them? Why should they open it? How do you pique their curiosity, and how do you drive urgency without triggering your spam filters? That's the important bit, because you don't want to be too spammy either. But sometimes you need to be like, you know what, I need to hear from you by tomorrow. Otherwise, you can't have this special. Sometimes that is the case. So here's just a quick example. So your usual product is back in stock with a surprise for you, rather than weekly newsletter. Big difference, right? And test this with AI suggestions, but always add your human element. So if you're using a program like MailChimp as an example, it will give you an optimized version of your subject line, or if you're struggling to think of one, some of them can generate for you. But rewrite, always bring the human back in. Just do a little rewrite and a little edit, and we can take it from there. Okay, so then our second one is hyper-personalization. Now, this is one I'm curious to see how far we actually end up going with this, because without creepiness is the bit that concerns me. I mean, I don't want it to be like, hi, Carol, I know what you had for breakfast this morning, and you're going to need something a little bit later because of, way too much information, and that would freak me out. Let's just put it that way. So making sure that we use behavior, purchase history, and preferences, that is all first-party data that is really valuable to helping you create good content, and have it dynamic as well. So, I think where a lot of businesses get stuck is they go, well, I've got something to communicate, and you put it together in a newsletter and you send it out. But, your architects, interior designers, and your electrician all have slightly different needs of your product or service, right? And if you can go and rewrite that for them, focusing in on what exactly is going to assist them, that's where we're writing dynamic content for segments. Okay, so that's what we want. And there we go, rainy day discounts on your favorite latte. If you know who drinks lattes, give them a latte discount. Don't give them a cappuccino discount. I've got a friend who only has black coffee. If you offer her anything else, she won't take it. So knowing your target market as best as you can is the best way to go. All right, number three, automation and behavioral flows. So this is where your revenue engine really kicks in. So have a good welcome series, have an abandoned cart, have your post-purchase, your re-engagement. This is easier for an e-commerce site than it is for any other kind of business. Okay, so if you're on e-commerce, there's no reason why these things should not be set up. And if they aren't, you're probably losing a lot of money. So you know what I said about number one? Make sure you get those ones done. That's your win if you have an e-commerce store. Now, for the rest of us who don't, because I don't, you might not, what we can do is we can focus on journeys. So, what was that first point of contact or pain point that your potential client has, and why would they want to talk to you about it? Use that as the way to get them into your flow. So say, oh, I'll share some information with you about that problem that you have and how to solve it if you give me your email address. And then from there, you can build a series of emailers to convert them to a client. So you're educating them a bit, giving them an offering. There are so many different formulas for the kind of flows that you can create. It's something that you could probably use ChatGPT or any of your favorite AI tools to come up with a brief summary for you based on your business. And it's worth doing, and it's worth trying. There are businesses who have a number of different lead magnets out there, all to draw different personas and kinds of customers, and they build a database and then sell to that database. So that's one way to definitely do it. If you get that right, you can generate 41% of your revenue from just 5% of your sends. That's the goal. So this is what we're working towards. So start really, really simple. Don't go and overcomplicate it. When I started doing this for us, I completely overcomplicated it. And because of that, I can very honestly say we do not currently have any automation set up and running. I need to go and rethink that part of the business. I need to go and rework out that blueprint for us, because I tried to make it too big and too complicated and too wow. And sometimes that's the worst thing to do. Keep it simple, stupid. Right, number four, value first content. So leading with education and then selling. This is a philosophy I talk about all the time. I'm not the only person. Go read anything from Seth Godin, Donald Miller, Daniel Priestley, Sabri Subi. Any top marketer is going to tell you educate and value first, and then your sell. And sometimes also your sell must not be as hard as we sometimes make it. So that's something to consider. So have 2 to 3 value-driven emails for every promotional one. So this is a really good way. When I have built out flows, ones that work, ones for ourselves, all of that, we would do a newsletter a week, 3 educational and trust-building newsletters. And look, you always include somewhere for them to buy if they're ready to, but then you come in with the 4th one, and that is your promotion or your launch of new stock or whatever it is that you want to highlight for sale. Start with that combination and see how you go. And you can combine this with sustainable or authentic content themes from a number of different things that you're doing in your business. So if you've been creating blog posts, social media, you've been doing for ages, repurpose some of it. You don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. You've probably said everything that you might want to say about your business already. You just have to present it in a different way. All right, so then mobile first, does it work on a cell phone? If the answer is no, it needs to go back to the drawing board. So you want clean design, short copy, clear call to actions, and interactive elements like buttons. Let's just start with buttons. There's so many newsletters that I've seen that just don't even have a simple button. We love buttons. They also highlight actions that we want people to take. Polls and quizzes are also fantastic ways to get engagement from people in a newsletter. AI is your friend. It's here to make your life easier, not to take over the jobs and tasks that you maybe are avoiding doing, which I think is what's happened in the content generation space. So use it to get your ideas, your content, your breakdown. If you don't even know how to start with structuring a newsletter, it's a great way to get that out there. But then go and rework it, go make it human, go connect to the person. You're still going to spend less time writing it that way than you would have if you'd had to start from scratch by yourself. And you will stand out from other people who've just gone and stuck it into ChatGPT and then stuck it into MailChimp and then hit send, because that is happening all the time. So practical implementation roadmap, how you can do this step by step. How can you revive the email marketing part of your business? You can audit your current list and your performance. Go and have a look to see what is going on in your database already. Who is in it? Do you need to segment it? That's a great exercise to start with. Not my favorite, as you can tell by my face, but it will give you so much information about who you can talk to. And that bit I love. So go have a look at that. And also have a look at your past performance. What worked? What didn't work? What could have worked better? You're teaching yourself, and this is a big part of marketing, testing and measuring. We often do, and we forget to go back and measure the results properly. So go and do that for yourself. And typically choose one tool that you're going to use. I love MailChimp. I think it's really good. If I'm not using MailChimp, Touchbase Pro is my absolute go-to. I do love that they're a South African company as well. And I've managed to make a couple of friends on the team. So whenever I need some support, there's somebody we can call, which makes a big difference sometimes as well. Whereas MailChimp, when we've run into problems, it can be difficult to get support. I find that going onto X is actually the one and only way to connect with somebody. I prefer dropping an email. So those are our two ones that we love, not the only ones that we use for clients, but our two major ones that we make use of. Go and build your first automation. Go welcome people to your business. Go and teach them about the problems that you solve for them, that they don't even know that they have, or that they don't understand that you solve for them. Okay? So that's task one. Go and give that a try. And create a nice, simple content calendar for that. So a little bit like your social media, except you're not going to be sending something out every 3 days. You're going to be looking at, start with one a month. That if you're not doing anything, that's already a win. Increase it to every 2 weeks. Then increase it to every week. So we have one going out every week. We probably have had for the last few years. We have quite a bit that we like to communicate out. So if I think about how we build our newsletters every month, we've got a blog that we write. So that's a newsletter to distribute that in front of everyone. We get our topics out for the Lunch and Learns. That's a separate one. And then sometimes it's a bit dependent as to what's happening in the business. Like this month, we are launching a marketing coaching group. So there's a newsletter with more information about that. And, I've got an event that we're going to be doing in May, and we're going to be releasing those details. Now, in other months, that's going to look different, but there's about 4 newsletters a month in our flow that we create. Test, measure, look at it. So if you're going to be sending out something every week like we are, go and look at it and go, did you work? How well did you work? Could you have worked better? Ask all the questions. And as per always, week 1 is for the experiment. Be consistent for 1 month and then optimize it after 1 quarter. This is the same for most marketing activities. If you've attended more than one Lunch and Learn, you probably have seen that on the screen before. Just that little formula can make a ton of difference if you just step by step walk with it. So how can you measure success and avoid common pitfalls? So definitely have some KPIs for yourself in 2026. Know what you're looking at. So your click-through rate's important, your open rate's important. Let's start with your open rate. That is how many people open your newsletter. That is the beginning of success. If only 5% of your database opens it up, you probably have a less than 1% click-through rate to your website, your special, your sale, your Calendly link, whatever it might be that you're asking people to click on. So your open rate has to be as high as possible to increase your chances of success, okay? So click-through rate, we've discussed, that's then through to the website, through to the offer, through to the Calendly link, whatever it is that you're asking people to click on. Then your revenue per recipient. So when you make sales, especially if you're an e-commerce store and you can tell this for every step that you take, how much is that? Set the benchmark and see how you can increase it slowly over time, because it's not an overnight thing. Sometimes if you do a nice big price increase, you'll see a difference, but it does tend to take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. What were your conversions? How did your list grow? And your churn. What is your churn? Your churn are the unsubscribers, the people who leave. And just remember that in the world of email marketing, an unsubscriber is simply somebody that you're not having to pay extra money on to keep on a database, who is probably not going to buy from you anyway. There's a reason they're leaving, and that's okay. They're making space for somebody else who's going to come in and engage with your business. So you've got some pitfalls to avoid. Don't oversend. Don't have spammy language. It hurts your deliverability. Your email programs are keeping a big eye out for those, and it switches people off. So just have a look at that. Make sure you follow consent and privacy. Use very clear opt-ins. Let people know why they're hearing from you. I mean, for me, there's nothing worse than picking up a phone or something and that you start being introduced to a company that you've never heard of in your life. What an off-putting moment. and you could be creating those if you do not get the right consents and permissions. So please, please, please do yourself a favor and do that. It's worth it in the long run. I know it's extra admin, but it's worth it in the long run. You also don't want to rely only on opens. What are the actions? Make sure you're getting a lot of opens. Like, that's the assessment there. How many opens? Increase that. But what happens afterwards is very important. And then also make sure that you have your targeted flows rather than just generic blasts and all over the place, and doing it when you remember to do it rather than consistently. So we do use newsletter marketing for a number of our clients. Sometimes we have, we're not quite in this case itself, but done it with clients where I've coached them through what needs to happen in every newsletter, and they go and do it themselves. This is great for clients who maybe cannot afford to fully outsource their marketing efforts or to hire somebody in-house, but this will help them to get some really good consistent efforts. And with working alongside businesses, not doing the work ourselves, Ford is a brilliant case study. 6% national sales increase through education and training that we did with their sales team in 2025. So these sessions are here as well to help you by giving you a Q&A space. If you are going to join for another one, you'll see at the end of this, I open up the floor for some questions. Anything you want to know about, if there's something that we've educated you on and you want more information, let us know how it goes. Or if you're stuck, come and ask. You're more than welcome to. We also like to help our clients and our network through events. Now, we are going to have a new event launching next week, which I'm very excited about. It's going to be in Joburg. It's going to be with a different speaker. It's going to have a completely different focus, just so you know. But Annie Olafue and myself have just decided that we are going to be launching another 2 growth actually workshops this year. The 10th of June will be the next one. Let me just actually double check my dates there, make sure I'm not confusing it, because the other one is the 10th of September. No, sorry, 11th of June and the 10th of September. So the 11th of June is going to be online, which we're really looking forward to putting in front of people. We had so many requests for an online workshop when we launched this for Cape Town, and that's where that's come from. And then in September, we're going to be holding it in the Helderberg as well. So another in-person event, and we're looking forward to hosting people in the spring, getting them out of the house a little bit. So watch your screens. This will be launched officially, I think, actually on Monday. As you can see, more workshops coming up. There's Joburg. I need to update this for our new growth actually ones as well. But how we are also helping business owners at the moment where they cannot outsource is by launching these marketing groups. I'm going to include the waiting list in the description of this video as well. So if this sounds like you would be interested, go and add yourself to that list. As soon as I've got enough people, I'm going to be sharing more information on how this works. But the premise of it is that your first session out of this group coaching will be directly with me, where we will create a strategy that you will be able to follow and help grow your business. You will be implementing your strategy, by the way, and that's why you go into group coaching, to be held accountable to the steps that you're going to need to take every 2 weeks, because we'll be coaching every 2 weeks. And if you get stuck, you've got me as a sounding board or for advice, as a knowledge center. And one of my favorite things about group coaching is there's going to be other business owners that you can learn from, so you can see what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what you might want to add into your plan going forward. And possibly even things that you want to avoid. Let's say maybe you put something in your plan, it doesn't sound like it's going to work, you get an opportunity to take it out. We're also going to have unlimited email and WhatsApp support for our clients who join us in this group. And I'm only taking 8 business owners so that it is really good, personal, hands-on. And we've got enough people to learn from, but we can also get some stuff done in these sessions. What Digital Happiness is particularly good at is doing work for our clients. So for medium and large businesses, they tend to outsource to us. We become part of their team and we fit in with what they need. A couple of our clients, to give you an idea of what that tends to look like on the larger business side of things, can be seen on the screen. We are very happily a vendor for both Stellenbosch University and UCT since 2020, which is brilliant. And we love working with the rest of these businesses in our arsenal. But we don't only work with big businesses. We've had some smaller businesses who outsource to us, ask us to assist, and we grow with them. So then we go and do a sustainable business plan where we start with something, get some results, increase the marketing budget, add on another thing, get results, so that we're building businesses that are growing and in a sustainable way. That's just to give you an idea of what our content cycle looks like. So for our clients who do work with us, where we do the work for them, that is typically what a month looks like. We speak to them, or have a management meeting, we go away, we do the work, we get it signed off, nothing goes online unless everyone's on board. We schedule what we need to, we look, we assess, we report, we discuss in our next monthly management meeting, and so we go on. So thank you very much for joining me today. It is the 9th of April, and I've really enjoyed giving you this presentation. I love a good email campaign. I think so many more businesses can be doing it more effectively in a way that will help them grow their business. We are now going to have our Q&A section, so if you've got any questions or anything that you would like some better advice on in your marketing, the floor is now yours.